I'm really impressed by the hardware, and especially, the top screen looks good. 3D has been used to some pretty cool effects, but I love the circle pad. It just adds a whole new control dimension to the DS, and it's real easy to use. Your thumb doesn't slip off. It feels great.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of disappointed with the system itself, because it's slightly heavier and it's not as comfortable as the DS Lite. So when I play games for like an hour or so, my hands really cramp up. So I'm kind of like even more wanting that redesign that it's inevitable, it's coming in the future.
As much as I'm interested in all the features of the 3DS, I'm not feeling compelled to really sit down and use it as much as I would like to. I really feel like as much as I'm enjoying certain games, like I think the Ghost Recon game is really interesting and fun, I'm basically at this point just disappointed in the range of software that's available.
I'm a big Ridge Racer fan. I played almost every single Ridge Racer game, and playing Ridge Racer on this, it's kind of interesting because the 3D actually really adds something to it. I mean, racing games kind of lend themselves pretty well to the 3D effect, and other games like Pilot Wings really do as well. At first you kind of think, okay, what does 3D offer in terms of gameplay? And you kind of just think, well, it's just a visual trick. But no, it does that little extra bit of depth actually kind of helps you see things a little bit better, things that you might have not necessarily have seen before. So I think that's really great. So yeah, Ridge Racer is really a lot of fun. I like it a lot. Pilot Wings, I'm a huge Pilot Wings fan, and that's really great, even though, the game's a little short.
I love me some Street Fighter. Certainly anywhere in the house I go that I can get online and play some Street Fighter, that's kind of fun. The one thing I'll say is that, with the D-pad being as small as it is, and I know some people are using the circle little analog stick for Street Fighter, but I just can't get used to doing that for whatever reason. And so after playing for about 3 or 4 matches, it's like that D-pad is rubs into you. It's kind of rough. But that aside, the 3D is pretty cool. It seems about 3/4 of the way up on the slider for me is kind of where the sweet spot is if I'm doing something like Street Fighter. If you hold it real good and steady, or it doesn't mess with you at all. But sometimes when you're getting busy with Street Fighter, the little bit of shimmy that it has in there is kind of weird sometimes and throws your eyes off and kind of refocus. But overall, that's rad. I mean, I find myself going between 3D and 2D often.
Everyone talks about the 3D. I mean, it's called the 3DS for a reason. And while I think that's kind of a neat aspect of the system, that's not what's so innovative about it. I think Nintendo's really made a lot of strides in terms of making this thing kind of a connected device.
A bunch of us in the office have this daily ritual going now where we put our 3DSs together so that we can get puzzle pieces and so that we can play Find Me using each other's Miis. And I just find it kind of fun and novel, not your typical social experience. So I'm having some fun with that.
The AR game, I'll admit, whether it's Face Raiders or the AR game with the card that they have in here, it's I'm probably more impressed with that than anything. It seems like that whole augmented reality thing is just super fun and kind of shows off what the system can do.
I'm a little worried about this tiny little slider here. It's kind of small. If stuff gets in there, gums it up a little bit, it seems like it might be a weak point for the hardware, but otherwise the system seems pretty solid. Definitely a weight difference to get used to over the DS Lite or the DSi, but yeah, it still feels pretty good in my hands, and I've definitely played it for long stretches of time and used 3D for long stretches of time without fatigue, which I was kind of expecting, but wasn't there, so it's nice that that's not an impediment to my enjoyment of the system.
My laptop straight up has, an SD card slot, and so if I want to get music from my laptop to this, it's literally pop, pop, and then I'm hella listening to music using my 3DS, which is awesome, which is not the case for the iPhone or the iPad. It's good luck, here you go.